So today we are going to do the C string. So when we talk about the C string, you have been working with a C string before. So when I say you have been working with a C string, when you say C out in your computer, the first program that you wrote in course 1511, maybe C out hello world. This was a C string. So in this C string, you didn't go much details about it. So here in this class, we are going to deal more. We are going to go more and like we're going to go further and we're going to research more about the C string. So C string was inherited or adopted in C sharp, the language called C sharp. So the C++, they adopted this C string due to they were using arrays, and then the arrays, they were not like they were working properly, but they just love it, they just like it. If you want to know more background about how they adopted it or to come to C++, you can also make that research. So remember, in these classes, everything that I'm going to be teaching you is based on the what you are going to be writing, and then something that is going to help you in your exam. So in C string, we're gonna use the char. When you say char, you can use any variable. For example, it can be C string surname. So your surname, you're gonna put equal sign and double quotation mark. So maybe your surname can be Van der Walt, or it can be any surname that you are using. You can write it here, that surname, your surname. So when you write your surname here, when you write your surname here, then this is a C string. So your C string, you can still output it. You can do anything. So now I'm going to give you the difference between the C string and the C string and array. So a C string, when you declare array, your C string also, the way I've written it here, I didn't include the braces. So your C string, it must also, you must tell it how many letters or letters that it must accommodate. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So when you have 12, which means you must use 13. Why am I using 13? Is because on a C string, we have a string character called a null character, which is represented by /o. So this null character is the name is called a null character, and this null character, it's a single, just because you see maybe this slash and the o there, you might think maybe it's a two things, but it's a single character. It's just a single character, the single character. So we also, the same way when you're using /n, your /n also, it's a single character for end line. So in every time when you are working with a C string, you must accommodate this three single character or the null character. So if, for example, I will just use a name, my name, I can write maybe brilliant there. When you write brilliant, if let's say I just did this one, I just want to erase that, you can see that here in my name, it have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you, instead of writing, you must also, if it's 4, you must put 5. The fifth one is to accommodate what this null character. So when we say that, if I put another L there. It's going to make it how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in order for it to be a C string, you must put 6 there. You must add one more character for the null character. So in a C string, if you find in your, when you are working or when you are programming or reading with your C string, if you find something returns char, maybe surname, I shouldn't have erased that. Then maybe they say equals to, they put a brace there. Maybe they use a single quotation mark or double quotation mark. Maybe you can say B there, like that, comma, R, comma, I. I'm just gonna end there, here in I. So this is no longer a C string. This is an array. So you must remember when you see something that this is an array. So when you are working with a C string, sometimes, for example, let me just make a coding. So in this C string, you can have we can declare a C string. For example, let me say char name. In my char name here, I will write maybe Peter. So when I write Peter, I can output Peter by just writing the name. So when I put Peter, I'm gonna build my program. My program here is building successfully. According to, it's gonna show me a red thing or something. So I'm gonna share with you so that you can see the message building logs. Okay, messages. You can see in our message here, it have a problem. So here it's even a problem because I didn't tell it how many it must accommodate. So Peter, it have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm gonna write 6 there. So you can see now that it built successful. So we can run it. When run it, it's gonna show Peter there in our screen. So now instead of maybe to write it this way, let's say for example, you can erase this Peter here. We put a semicolon. But now you cannot write it as you cannot say name equals to, then you say Peter like this way. It's wrong. It won't work like this way. Even if you try it, let me show you that it won't work. It will tell you that invalid array assignment. So in order for it to work, when you are working with a C string, we have some predefined functions. So the first one we can use is called a string copy. So string copy, the first thing there, you're gonna write the name. Then the second thing, you're gonna write what we want it to be. We want it to be Peter. Like that, you put a semicolon. Then now when you run your code is going to work. So now, because this is a string, it's a predefined function, it uses a header file called #include C string. Yes, it's C string. You must include the header file called #include C string. So when you include it, you will see that this predefined function is no longer having an error. Then when we run our code, you will see that it's still printing Peter. Let me just run it once more time. Then you can see it's printing Peter, but we use a string copy. So in this string copy, we can make it to have a limit. For example, we can put n there. So when we put n there, we can tell it that, okay, we want it to take 4 letters. So when we put 4 letters, you can put any letters. Per example, maybe you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can decide to put 6 so that it can accommodate it can accommodate the null character. But if we put 4, it's still going to accommodate the null character. But here is going to print only 1, 2, 3, 4. It will ignore R. So let me build my code and let me run my code. You can see that is a PETE. So it's Peter like that. So that's how we can limit how long the string must be. So sometimes a person can write a very huge string whereby it's going to make our C string not to be a 6 string anymore. So by making a limit, it will just print exactly what it's required. So that's how it works. Even if it's like that, it's still gonna print pit like the way you can see it in the screen. So we have so many predefined functions that we can use. The first one for string copy, instead, if you don't want to put equal sign there to write equal to a double quotation mark Peter, you can use the string copy. We also have a function, a predefined function, which can combine two which can combine two C strings. Let's say the first string, it was Peter, as I have written before. And then the second one is going to be, we're going to name it a name. We're going to say Chasani. Then this one, Chasani, we're going to say maybe 5. Then I'm going to write vault. So if I want to combine these two C strings, I can use if I want to combine these two C strings, I can use a string like it's for string concatenation, but it's called cat CAT. So this one concatenate, is to concatenate. So we can say, okay, we want you to combine the name, or we can start with a surname and then comma and also the name. So it's gonna combine both of these two. I'm gonna make a space there so that I will change a number there to be 6 so that it can be a C string. So now in this one here, what I've done, I have made this one to combine them. If I output them, you will see that is going to combine print vald, or let me just put it like that. It's gonna say vald Peter. You can see that in the screen, vald Peter. So this is for concatenate. To concatenate, concatenate in English means combine. So in programming, they use that word to concatenate, is to combine. So you can also want to check if the C string, they have the same names or is the same thing. So in order for you to check if the C string have the same names or they have different names, you can use the string called string compare. So for string compare, you write str compare. So this one here, we can, in order for us to compare, we can use an if statement. When we use an if statement, we just write string compare in brackets. Then what are we comparing? We are comparing the name and the surname. So when we compare the name and surname, here in this one is gonna tell us if when the first one the first one is the first one when you use if is going to be wrong. It's not gonna be, it will be mean that it's going to be different names, and then else one is going to be what is going to be true. In other words, I mean the bool statement here, if we are using bool, the bool is going to be true, and the else, after else, the bool is going to be what? Is going to be false. Bool is going to be false. Bool is going, okay, sorry, I made a mistake. The bool statement in the first one is going to be false, and then the bool statement in the second one is going to be true. So we have that. So now when we have this, what it means here, according to mathematics, we have a word called decoxy graphic, decoxy graphic, detoxic, not detoxic, or decoxic graphic. It means that it's the thing, it compare things based on the Boolean, but the number that it uses the 0, and it uses also a -1, and let's say negative and the positive. So when you get 0, the 0 means that is true, and then when you get a -1 or negative or positive, it means that is true. So that's how it works with the cosine graphic. So you can check, you don't really have to memorize that word, they won't ask you in your exam. So now what I mean by bool is going to be true here. It means that in the first statement here, when you use an if statement, we are going to see out that this statement is going to be name, I will say names are different in other ways so that you can understand better. And then else, if this is false, then which means names are what? We can see out names are the same. So that's how it is based on the logic it's using. So if we run our code, there you can see these two names are different. So I'm gonna run it, build it first, then I run it. When I run it, you will see that you say names are different. So to prove you that this works, I'm gonna change one name here to be Peter, exactly the way it's written there. Then you will see that it's going to show you that the names are the same. So when they are the same, it's going to output 0, and the 0 means they are the same. It works kind of like a opposite to how we interpret through 0 and the 1. So let's build our code and let's run it. You see, now it tells you names are the same. And when it tells you that the names are the same, we can check here. Exactly, our names are the same. So do you guys have any question?
Nothing from my side.
Anyone? Okay. So now,
No, wait. Sorry, sir. Can you go back to the screen on the code block?
can we?
Can you go back
Okay.
to code block, please?
All right. Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, on the string copy, do you remember the string copy before you move there? You said char name 6 and then Peter, and then you use the string copy.
Yes.
And then you said you can put the length and then you can minimize it with the 4. You
Even
wrote the
in this
4 at the
one,
end.
even in this one, we can decide, we can tell it how many letters you can take. You can put n there.
Mm.
Then when you put n, you say comma. Then you can tell it how many letters. Let's say, for example, we want to compare only for 5. We can say 6.
Oh,
Right?
that's right.
Yes.
Okay.
It's still
Okay.
gonna work.
So is it important that 6 that we have there under the inside the brackets on the array? The first,
No.
is it still important that number to have it there?
Yes, it's very
That one.
important. Yes. Yes, it is. It is very
Okay.
important because remember I said we are writing 6 because of this name that we are using here is PET is 5 letters. So we must add one more to accommodate the null operator, which is /O.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's
Got
why.
it. Thank
So all these ones here we can put the one for these predefined functions for the C string. We can also put n there. Just that sometimes I might be not putting n, but I will try by all means that when I'm teaching you guys, I also include also the n so that you can see and remember
Okay.
how to this. So now we also have another predefined called string length. So there are many of them. So if you type like string, you will see in your, you will see in your computer, just that this one is not showing. Sometimes it will show you all those lists. So even if you go to your books, just that I don't have your book in my computer. So I was gonna open it. I don't have these books for C++, the one you're doing. I don't have a books. So I was gonna show you more of them. So there is another one also for length. So for length, it checks how many letters are there in your C string. So if we delete there, for example, I can just say C out. I say string length. I write the name that I want to know the length. It will show me the length of this one here. But because they are the same, let me also just erase this one. So I'm gonna build it and run it. So if I run it, you can see that it's showing us that you have how many? You have 5 letters in your string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 letters. So you don't really have to memorize them, but it's just that if you are working with a C string, you're gonna need them. So I'm gonna list them now for you. The first one I talk about was string copy, which it copies the string and the string copy, it copies the string. And then the second one we talk about is string compare. I will just say compare, which it compare two strings. Comparing two strings, I mean it checks if the strings are the same. You can use it to check if the strings are the same or if the strings are not the same. And then the other one is string cut, which it combine. This one combine two strings or 3 strings. It depends how many strings you have. It can combine them. And then the other one I showed you is string length, which you can check how many letters are there in your string for this one. And then there are still many more you can also research based on this one. Some of them in your question paper, they are written there. In your question paper, you will find them written there, down there at the end of your question paper. So in this 3C string, there is nothing much that you really have to know. So this is the only things that you have to know about the C string. This is the only thing that you have to know. So it's just that if you go, let me check if I have your books.
Sorry, Master, can I please ask you something?
Yes, you can.
When you say there's the only thing that we have to do, there's no that thing of conversion like when we did the nested loop to convert it to the while loop, something
No,
like
here
that.
you're not
So
gonna convert. It's just a string here. This is a chapter that is just teaching about you're not going to convert anything from while loop to. Remember, this is an object-oriented programming. So in object-oriented programming, based on today's lesson, I'm teaching you about the C string. So based on the C string, the question, it depends on the question. The question can ask you, for example, they say you have to output maybe, let me say, they can ask you maybe to combine two strings or it depends on the question. So if the question, when it depends, when you get a question, if you can see that in this question you have to use a for loop, you must use it, or a while loop. It depends. Like now you will be, is like in this programming, we assume that you can program in this chapter, in this course 1512. They assume that everything you did in course 1511, you understand them. So which means, see, we are not going to discuss about for loop, while loop, do those things is for course 1511. So I assume you guys, you understand them. So which means if I'm dealing with a question, I might also include for loop, I might also include functions, and then like that. I might also include arrays. I'm still gonna teach you arrays when I'm teaching you guys about the vectors, which can be tomorrow's lesson. I hope you understand now.
Thank you.
Okay, do you understand? So which means if you forgot some things in course 1511, when you try to do questions, just try to go and visit them, visit those chapters, so that you can be fine. But more here, you're gonna still use for loop in classes. There are a lot of, you are still going to use them, but teaching you guys, we assume you understand them by now. Let me, yeah, okay. Finally, I got it. I thought I don't have this book. Inclusive, because let me check which chapter is it. Because I just want to show you something in the book so that you can be sure that let me see. I don't like using a book. I'm not saying you must not read your books, ne? Don't get me wrong. 485. So here in your C string, this is a string and vectors. This is chapter chapter 8 in your book. Do you guys have this book, or should I send it to you?
I have it.
I
All
have
right.
it.
Oh, okay. So if you guys have it, then there is no need. So when you read for this module, remember you also have a study guide. It will tell you that you must also read 1.2, 1.8.1, maybe 8.2, and leave this one. Maybe you might find that they are saying leave 8.2. So if I start with 8.1, this is just an introduction. You will see here they're telling you string is like arrays. Then you just have to, they will teach you about the null character that I've talked about. Then they will show you exactly how it's working. Then in the C string, you go there like that, high there, you can see, and then we move. Initializing C strings, they are showing, we already discussed there today. And then here now, you are using their questions. I'm not sure what they asked there. You can read it. You are using int x, what, okay, slash while slash n. There is a purpose why they're using while loop, is because of, you can read there, which I'm not going to do right now. Then they are still doing that, you can read that. But the most important thing now, they start here. You see they are using what, a string copy there I showed you, and copy, you see. Now they are showing you about that and that I was teaching you guys. Now, after that, they are using string compare. They use an if statement. The strings are not the same, the strings the same. Then they summarize for you there. They are telling you that you must use a header file called cstring, which I told you, in order for these strings to work. C string copy, and string compare. So after that, this is where I wanted to go. You see, the ones that I talked to you guys about is this one and this one. I also talk about string cat, and then I told you that is to combine. Here is concatenate, is the same, it's the synonyms of combine. And then string what, they are showing you the string length, I show you string compare, I showed you, which means I only showed you that which they are exactly in your books. So there you go. Let's see what's happening there. Here now, you are using a function, you see. So here when you are using a function, this is just a what? They say pitfall in your books. You write a function void string copy string, okay, chat that. So you know how to write a function, and I'm assuming I'm gonna ask you guys a question. When you see something like this, what do you see when you see that function? What is your assumption? What do you think? Not assumption. What do you see? What do you know? What do you know when you see only this line? This is a function whereby it's a what? It's calling as an array. Char source is kind of like an array. Then that array inside you have char target 5, which now is a C string. So in your C string, then after that your string copy target and what source, né? String copy target there and source. Then you are going to take what is in the array and then you put it in your in a C string. So which means this what is the purpose of this function, which is they won't really ask you that, but you can go through that. And then this one here also you can see there is array there, and then assign length, string length equals to, if length is less than 5, do this. The purpose of this one is to make sure that it becomes it must be a C string, but with functions, using functions, we're gonna do that when we are doing question papers. You will see that, but it's not the most important things is to know exactly what we discussed today. So after that, this is your self-assignment. You can try it if you have time. You can try that. So there is nothing much about the C string that you need to know. So everything that you see there, you know it. So is there any question?
No, for me.
You don't have a question, yes. So exactly what we discussed about the C string, as long as you don't forget it. So even in your question paper, they are going to be like this. Exactly how I showed you. So tomorrow we are going to be discussing. So this one here, let me see. I don't think this chapter is included in your site. This one I think is not included. You must check your study guide because you might don't spend more time on things that you are not supposed to be knowing for now. So it's not included in your study guide. You just have to know 8.1 and 8.3 for the vectors. So tomorrow we're going to deal with the vectors. And then after the vectors, then we're gonna do classes. And classes, they are the ones which whereby you have to be focused there because that's where your exam is. So if you understand the classes, then it means that you are going to pass course 1512. If you don't understand classes, then it means that you won't pass course 1512. But I hope you're going to understand them because I'm a good explainer.
Thank you very much.
All right, so if you still have question, I'm still available. So just remember this, what we have discussed today, and just go and read them in practice. Then you won't have any problem. So based on before, let me just emphasize something. I think everybody, you have a timetable, ne? I sent
Yes.
you guys the timetable. So based on the timetable for this 8 a.m. 8 p.m. class. So the timetable stated that let me try to view the timetable. Today is, I think it's Tuesday, right? On Friday, when it's past paper, that's when the class is gonna be very long. because we're gonna be doing a lot of things there. So these ones, it's gonna be based on the chapters. So the only day that the class will be long, it will be on Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow it won't be really much longer. It might take only 1 hour, but on Thursday it might take even 2 hours or 1 hour and a half based on the things, because there is a lot of things based on the classes and we will have to move faster.
Okay, noted.
So if you have a problem with what we did today, just let me know, then I'm gonna respond to you. So tomorrow's class is about the vectors. Vectors, they are not that much, but I'm gonna mix it with another chapter so that we can finish fast. Then Thursday, I'm going to teach you guys classes.
Thank you, brilliant.
Okay.
All right.
Which chapter are you gonna mix it with?
Hello, I'm not yet sure. I will have to first check.
You're not sure?
Yes, I